The U.S. women's national soccer team will finally be paid the same amount as men's teams, marking a historic milestone for the fight for equal pay. The deal, which was announced yesterday, ends the decades-long battle to even the playing field for both female and male soccer players. Here to discuss the significance of this agreement, Eric Mitchell, sports analyst and president and CEO of LifeFlip Media. Eric, glad to have you on this morning. Let's just break down what is included and what is not included in this deal.
This is a great thing for our sports, especially women's sports across the globe. What Team USA did with this collective bargaining agreement is finally take the motto that they've used and put on bumper stickers and mugs, one team, one nation, and actually make it right. In fact, now the players will be paid equally across the board. And Team USA now, our men's and women's soccer team, are the only ones that will get paid when FIFA, the large World Cup, that our women's team always either wins or places in the top 5 to 4 all the time, will be able to take home that money. So what does that mean? It's a great question. That means, let's put it in comparison. In 2018, when France won the World Cup, they won $48 million. That was split amongst their team. When Team USA, the women's national soccer team, won just the same year, they took home $4 million. You see, now it makes that split equal. So if our men's soccer team hopefully someday can get that far and win the World Cup, we would have a big pot. But that means our women's national team that places well will have a much bigger pot, and the men's team will actually make some money from the women playing, which is kind of let's face it, you could probably list more players from the women's national team, the famous players that we've had since the 1990s, more than you can list one or two men's players. I mean, that's the question I've been asking people. And trust me, I get a lot more women's names than I do male soccer players' names.
I think that's across the board and such a fair kind of statement to make, which makes kind of this fight over the last couple of years even more frustrating for a lot of the players and even the fans here, that the women's team has gotten so much more notoriety, has been so much more historic in some of their own endeavors, literally on the field, yet they're getting a fraction of what the men's soccer team is getting here. To that point, I mean, obviously this is a monumental and historic moment. Yesterday, some of the players on the women's soccer team saying things like, this is a moment that brings them extreme pride, but it is hard to feel excited about something that should have happened kind of all along, or should have been the norm, so to speak, here. So I don't want to lose in context the reality that this fight has been going on for years, some even saying decades when you just think of more broadly kind of, equal pay for women. Let's talk about why this took so long for it to happen.
That's a loaded question for me.
Yeah.
Just look at the way that we treat women's sports in college, right? Look how the weight room from 2 years ago's March Madness, between all of that. This is an ongoing struggle that we're going to have to continue fighting. You're still seeing it in the WNBA, which has a big time blend over with the women's national soccer team. There's a lot of just big names shared with those two teams coming together. This fight will continue. I don't understand it at all. I wish I could give a great explanation of this is why. It's just frustrating. It's always been treated as, women aren't equal in sports. And that's just absolutely not the way. Watch a WNBA game. Those games are pure. Watch Sue Bird play basketball. She's amazing. Watch any of those amazing players that are out there. And now you're seeing that go even further. I mean, if you want to take it and make how frustrating this is, a woman is the leading scorer in the NCAA history. That's a flat fact. She's outscored all men and all women. So take that. It's frustrating on the soccer level because our women's team is famous. I mean, they strike the fear in all of their teams that they're playing in the Olympics, in World Cup. It is interesting, and here's a cool fact. This morning, FIFA announced for this coming World Cup, 3 on-field, the head referees will be women. So it's not just shaking the core here in America, but globally, they're making a change and putting more women out there on the field for even against men. So that'll be really cool to see female referees being the head judge during World Cup coming up.
Yeah, that's showing continued progress here. But to your point, I mean, this is something that never made sense. Right now, it still doesn't make sense. Yet, even with this victory and this kind of monumental moment, it still is an issue far more broadly that, again, doesn't make sense but still exists. And where it almost feels like you're fighting a ghost, so to speak, in terms of a ghost of the reason why this is still in effect. But I think about this, and I think about, again, the broader picture here. Could this kick off, and should it kick off, kind of these further equal pay initiatives, to other organizations in the sports industry, but even beyond the sports industry?
I come from a tech background, so I absolutely agree with you. I've always felt women should be paid, they're equal to what they have in the Silicon Valley, and now you're seeing it in sports. I hope this awakens everyone. I want to see it not just in sports, but I want to see it across corporations and businesses, not just here in America, but across the globe. And it is great to see Team USA make this collective bargaining agreement, make it we are the only team that is splitting the pool from FIFA for both male and female, while Australia and Switzerland and Finland also pay their female team equal pay as their team. Team USA is leading the way. So hopefully we can take this very positive charge, take away these old monsters that are out there, this old, weird, boys only club, and make this sport equal, because women are amazing athletes. They're fun to watch. I don't care what you're doing. WNBA basketball is a fun thing to watch. Same when it comes to our national soccer team. So I just hope that we can continue to have this journey, and it just gets people to wake up and go, okay, we're in 2022. This is what we're going to do, and businesses follow along the same suit, because we have some amazing female CEOs out there, amazing influencers, and we need to continue this message across the board.
And by the way, to your point about the WNBA, there has been some progress there, right? Sue Bird leading initiatives for like marketing kind of budgets being equal to kind of the men's side, even broadcasting kind of opportunities being equal to the men's side there. Hopefully that progress starts to trickle down so that we all see the greats, in women NBA and those other sports that are also kind of just as equally exciting. But again, more broadly here, when we look at equal pay, right? 82 cents on the dollar national average in terms of what women make compared to men, women who are equally qualified in their fields to their male counterparts. In terms of actionable steps here, what do you think needs to happen for us on this broader picture, sector by sector, to actually get to this goal that should have always been the case, but this goal of equal pay?
Again, loaded question for me. I want to be the answer to be simple. Just do it, right? Let's just steal from Nike and just say, just do it. But it's going to we're going to have to break down some barriers, as we all know. For some reason, you said it best, we have these ghosts of the past that we don't really have an explanation as to why we treat women as unequal in the workplace. We're just going to have to push it and make people uncomfortable to become comfortable with something that should be normal. It shouldn't be some random question. You and I shouldn't be on here going, why are women being treated equal? They should be. Why are they not? You're also talking to a married guy here who, worships the ground his wife walks on. So I'm different, but we need to make sure that everyone is treated equal. And the answer should be simple, not this long drawn out answer of it just needs to happen.
Yeah, I appreciate you kind of playing along, so to speak, because I know I've asked you the same questions almost in different ways, but really to hit home that point that it isn't complex, that no matter how you ask this question, the reality is this is something that should have always been the case, yet we are still fighting for it to be the case, even when we know that fair is fair and it should be. The fight continues, unfortunately, despite knowing that. Eric, really appreciate your time and your insight. Say hello to your wife for me, by the way. Eric Mitchell, sports analyst and president and CEO of LifeFlip Media.